Hey everybody, welcome to Always Bored, Never Boring. On my channel I do a lot of quick painting guides, and today I'm going to be doing a super quick painting guide. Quite often you just want to get some paint on a miniature and get it on the tabletop, and I think that's quite often the case for DMs who are running a campaign. They don't have the time to do a lot of painting, they're focusing on the story, and that's probably why pre-painted miniatures are so popular. So in this video I'm going to paint up some orc archers. I'm going to use as few colours as possible, and I am only going to be doing base coats and washes, so no fancy techniques at all. And because these are the cheap miniatures from the Wrath of Ashardalon board game, I'm not even going to worry about cleaning up mould lines or anything like that. I have just spray coated them with Chaos Black, and we're going to get straight to putting some paint on them to get them tabletop ready with the minimum amount of fuss and effort. So these are not going to look absolutely great when they're finished. I would say they're going to be comparable to or slightly above the quality of pre-painted miniatures. And we're starting with Dawnstone, and we're going to apply this to all of the exposed skin on the orc. So that's the face, the chest, the arms, the legs. I'm thinning the paint slightly. I will apply 2 thin coats. Some of the details on this particular miniature are a little bit soft, so we don't want to clag them up with any gloopy paint. But as you can see, I'm not being too careful about the application of this paint because other areas of the miniature will be painted later. Next I'm switching to Eshin Grey, which is a much darker grey, and we're going to apply this to the straps on the armour. We're also going to put it on the hair, and we just have to be careful not to get it over any of the lighter grey that we have painted on the skin areas. I'm going for quite a muted dark colour palette here, so we're mainly using greys and browns, and just a small amount of metallic for any metal areas. So for that we're switching to Lead Belcher, and I'm going to paint this on the belt and also the buckle on the front of the chest piece. The arrowhead will also be Lead Belcher, and there are also some little metal detailings on the legs. And then we are switching to Nuln Oil, and we are going to apply this to the whole miniature. This is going to tone down the greys, it's going to go into the recesses of the miniature for some recess shading to make the details stand out a little bit more, and it's going to help to tie together the different colours we've used so far. It's also going to make everything look a little bit darker and grubbier, and as I mentioned, we are going for a dark muted colour palette here. We want our orcs to look foreboding and not brightly coloured. Next we're switching to Dryad Bark. This is a very dark brown. I'm going to apply this on the bows, and I'm also going to put it on the loincloths. And then I'm switching to Steel Legion Drab, and I'm going to paint the other areas of fabric on the miniature with this. I'm also going to put it on the quiver of arrows on the back. I'm going to put it on the strapping on the legs, making sure I don't paint over any of the metal and grey parts I've already done. And I'm going to put it on the left shoulder pad. The right shoulder pad I will do in a metallic colour. Next I'm switching to Xandri Dust, so we're still in those dark browns and beiges, and this is just to pick out the flights of the arrows in the quiver and the one that the orc is holding in his right hand. And then I'm going to one of my favourites, Balthasar Gold, and I'm going to put this on the right shoulder pad, just for a little bit of a change and to add a little bit of extra metal detailing. And then I'm going to switch back to Lead Belcher, and I'm just going to apply that to the studding on the leather shoulder pad on the left shoulder. This isn't absolutely essential, but I thought why not. And then it's time for AGRAX Earthshade. It wouldn't be one of my painting guides if I didn't get some AGRAX Earthshade on the miniature, and we're going to apply this to all of the browns and the golds that we have applied to the miniature. As before, this is going to darken down the colours, it's going to help tie the colours together, it's going to provide the recess shading, and everything's just going to look a little bit nicer once it's done. And you don't want it to pool too much. If you find that the wash is pooling too much, you can actually draw the wash away from the miniature by using a dry clean brush. And while that wash is drying, I'm going to switch to Mechanicus Standard Grey, and I'm going to put a quick base coat of that down on the base of the miniature. I tend to do that before applying texture paint, just to provide a solid base coat to work from. And as you can see, I'm using ASTROGRANITE here. I'm applying it with an old brush, making sure we go up to the feet, and covering the whole base but not the sides of the base. And then I'm going to put some Nuln Oil on that texture paint once it's dry, just for extra shading and detail. And finally, for the base, with ABADDON Black and a flat brush, I'm just going to neaten up the sides. And that actually finishes the painting for this miniature. As I said, we're doing an incredibly quick job. And because these are relatively inexpensive miniatures and a very quick paint job, I thought it was a good opportunity to once again test the matte spray varnish that I received from Colour Forge. The last time I used this varnish, it caused frosting on the miniature, and I had to take some steps to remedy that. And unfortunately, the same thing happened again. Here you can see two of the orcs that I painted. The one on the right has been sprayed with CITADEL Munitorum varnish, and the one on the left has been sprayed with Colour Forge Matte Varnish. They were sprayed at the same time under the same conditions, and I followed the instructions on both cans exactly. I was concerned that the Colour Forge varnish needed a lot more shaking than it said on the can, so I shook the can for a full 5 minutes. And as you can see, we still ended up with frosting. Fortunately, it is possible to remedy this type of frosting. What I do is I will paint it with a gloss varnish, and then I will repaint it with a matte varnish. And that does restore most of the colour that is lost through that frosting. And here we have the 3 orcs varnished and ready to go. The one on the far right is the one that was sprayed with the Colour Forge varnish and was then treated with gloss varnish followed by an anti-shine varnish, which in this particular case was an Army Painter anti-shine varnish. So no harm done in the end. But these orcs are now ready for the tabletop. They have been painted incredibly quickly, and they will look absolutely fine on the table when you are standing back surveying the scene. They just don't stand up to close scrutiny. But that's fine by me. And hopefully some people have found this video useful, but that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you've really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully I will see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.